excited to have psychic mediums join us because it's kind of the thing that we do. So Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Hi, ladies. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. So excited to be here.
So Stephanie, tell us a little bit about you and your journey.
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Stephanie, everyone, and I am a psychic medium. And my journey, I feel like it's an interesting one, but whose isn't? Right? For me, it came to me later in my 20s. So, a lot of mediums, sometimes they say like, oh, as a child, like, I saw these things or I, saw impressions. But for me, it really came later in life. And once that kind of came to me, I was able to be like, oh, like, okay, like the things I did in the past or, the feelings I had in my childhood kind of makes sense now. So yeah, it definitely came later for me.
Okay, and Stephanie, I have to ask you, okay, because a lot of people say that,
Uh-huh.
and but yet you as a child might have had some of those characteristics of a child, intuitive child. Were you like really sensitive?
Oh, totally. I was very sensitive. I still feel like I am, so I still have to keep that in check. But I was an only child too. And what's interesting is my parents, once, I've come out with this, they're like, Stephanie, you were so sensitive, but you also would like sit in a corner and play with your doll, just have the most fun and not move. So now, like in hindsight, we're a little bit like, okay, maybe you were talking to other people, and not playing by yourself, but definitely sensitive. And I always felt like just a little bit different. I feel like you both you ladies can relate too. I just always felt like I knew things about people, or I just knew if someone wasn't showing up like as their authentic self, or I kind of knew when boyfriends were lying to me.
Uh-oh.
And
That's
like
an advantage.
right. And I never knew why. And then once this kind of grew for me, it was like getting, a diagnosis on something I felt my whole life. So yeah.
I understand that completely. And it's
Yeah.
very interesting because I think 20s, it seems like it's the popular year or years that people
Yeah.
become awakened.
Oh,
Cassie,
really?
when did
Okay.
you become awakened?
So I was a little bit later. I feel like it was probably in my mid 30s, but like that also makes sense kind of like for my entire life. It
Right.
kind of seems like everything has kind of come a little bit later for me, like just in general. So it works out.
So tell us, Stephanie, how did you know and how did it all come together? I mean, what made it different when you're going, the light came on?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for me, it's actually kind of a funny story, and I have two people to shout out with this story. But so I work in television too as another part of my day job, balance both worlds. And so I was actually at work running to the printer, and this guy just came up to me, and I had never met him before. And he was like, hey, are you into mediums? And I thought my coworkers were like playing a joke on me because I happened to be on like a healer show that I was like obsessed with. And so he was like, no, I have a message for you. And at the time I have a friend that unfortunately, had just passed. And so he was like, hey, I think his name starts with a G, and just went down this list. And I was like, hey, do you want to just come into my office and chat? Because we were in the middle of, the big lobby. And so he came in and we spoke for an hour. He gave me a message. And then he was like, Steph, I really feel like you have this gift. And I feel like you should look up a community and start with classes. I didn't even know that classes exist. And his name is Reese Armstrong. He's also a medium and also a television producer. So shout out to him. And so this is a funny story because my absolute mentor and, she's like an angel in my life. She always laughs when I say where I met her, but it is the honest truth. So I went on meetup.com and I looked up mediums and like mediumship communities. And then there I found Colby Rebel. And then my life changed ever since. And so I joined her classes and was meeting in person once a week, doing circles, and my life forever changed. And so, yeah, that's been my journey. But it was funny how it started at work. So I'm like, God bless that ink in the printer.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Spirit was probably knocking on his door saying, say something to her.
Exactly.
Well, and I love the fact that you brought up Colby, because it's something that all three of us share.
So
Colby
true.
has been a part of each of our journeys,
Yes.
which is I think is just really cool.
Yes, 100%.
And she just kind of doing the golden nugget to her. If everybody wants to, really tune in your skills, she really does a great job of getting you to be aware of it and pulling it out.
Yes.
And being a fantastic teacher.
Yes.
And so I agree. She is really good. I signed up for her platform workshop. Excellent. She's excellent in that area.
Yes.
I'm going, I don't know if that's for me, but she was so good. I learned so much.
Yes, definitely. And she's one to really push you out of your comfort zone. And she just believes in her students so much. And it really gives you the confidence you need to kind of come out there, because it was definitely, I was in my spiritual closet for a while, and she was like, Steph, okay, it's been 3 years, like, let's go. So yeah.
Yes.
So was that scary when you came out of the spiritual closet?
Oh my goodness. Yes, it was. It was scary because, I was a little worried about not only what my friends and family would think, although I always know they would love and support me no matter what, but from, this television career that I've been in, my coworkers, I was a little nervous, to be honest, to see how that was going to be received. And like, am I going to be taken seriously, and thank goodness everyone's like, actually you make a lot more sense now. So,
so scary. And did your friends like try to run away, or did they actually go, oh, this is totally you?
Yeah, no, my friends have been so supportive. They're like, oh, this is so you. And so now we have jokes when we all go to dinner. They'll be like, is this psychic Steph speaking or Steph? And I was like, it's just Steph, not psychic Steph, just Steph advice. But yeah, no. So that was it. And you know what? The journey, it was still nerve-wracking, right? Because you're still figuring out your new identity as we're, putting ourselves out there. So I don't want to diminish how scary it was. But yeah, I was lucky enough to have friends, family, and work being supportive too. So yeah.
So what advice would you have to somebody who is listening out there that says, you know what, I think I may be an intuitive, but I'm not for sure. So what advice would you give them?
Well, shameless plug, definitely check out colbyrebel.com and her classes. And, I really feel like don't be afraid of it, and don't be afraid of doing something different that's off the beaten path. And don't be afraid to really trust yourself and be able to open up a new door for yourself. Because I do feel a lot of people, think that they're supposed to go one path in their life and it's comfortable. But, if you really give yourself a chance to go in like an uncomfortable path, that tends to be like the exciting one and the most fulfilling one. So my advice is just to go for it.
So, and a lot of people that I've talked to before, they go, why do I need to take a class? Why? This just comes natural. So what would you tell them?
Oh, yeah. That's such a great question. And I feel like I get that a lot. The biggest thing for me is ethics. It's really being able to, it's important to get the tools and learn, expand your toolbox and learn different skills, because those are important with psychic and mediumship, of course. But for me, the biggest thing is ethics and learning under, Colby, whichever teacher, you can really learn the structure and what's the appropriate way of handling a reading and delivering a message, because it's so important to learn that, because that you have to have integrity and learn those things. And I feel like a lot of times, if you're not learning from someone who's had years of experience, you can end up delivering messages in a way that like shouldn't be delivered, in all honesty. So I think it's really important to, yes, learn the skills and expand your toolbox, but to learn from people who have done it for years, because, that's how you grow, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is very well said.
Thank
Because
you.
yeah, and I think now I know that you went and you found Colby.
Yeah.
But how does somebody do that and know that that teacher is for them?
Totally. I think it's something that you have to just find what resonates for yourself, and who you honestly not want to replicate, right? Because everyone is their own person, but who is like similar in the way of maybe their thoughts, their belief system, or how they live their life and their practice. That's what I look for. So for me, when I found Colby, I was like, okay, she's my type of gal, For me, I really want to make psychic and mediumship normalized so for me, I'm just show up as my normal self. I'm not like as woo-woo as other people, which is no disrespect to that at all. But I feel like Colby is that way too. So I was like, great, this is a teacher that I can connect with. So my advice is, look around. There's so many wonderful teachers, and just sit with your gut, like what feels right, what feels authentic to you, and how you want to show up with your gift.
And I know, and a lot, all your answers are just right on wonderful. And when you talk, you can just see the love and the light in you. So I can see where everybody would go, oh, I want her to do reading for me. But okay, so a lot of people are afraid of mediumship.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try to stick with psychic because they're comfortable with that.
Sure.
How did you become comfortable about being a medium?
Yeah, that's interesting. For me, it's funny. I'm kind of the opposite. I was a little scared of the psychic and the mediumship. I was like, oh, that's easy. People will just get it. Right. So it's so funny, but you're right. People tend to have fears on both sides. And for mediumship, I just say, hey, at least for me, before a reading, I'll always say, hey, when I'm connecting to your loved ones in spirit, please know that I'm always coming from a place of love and positivity, and kind of just setting that expectation, and to know that, hey, like, I'm tuning into a person. This isn't like a ghost that's going to pop out of the closet. Like, these are people that have lived Earth. They're people. So I see it as a fun conversation with me and my sitter, right? So it's inviting that person in, talking about it, and thinking of it in that way, instead of anything else, like a ghost in the closet or something like that.
Right. I love that, because a lot of people will say, I talk to dead people. Mm-hmm. And I always tell my clients, no, they're not dead. They are living people on a different dimension.
Yes. Oh, I love that, Michelle. That is so true. And I could not agree more, because isn't there a quote like, it's like life after life or something like that? And I couldn't agree more. I feel like we're just tuning into, another, whatever it is, another dimension, life. And I like to think of it as just people, and not someone who's, that term dead. Yeah. I don't like that term very much.
I totally agree. Now, whenever you do psychic readings, like you were saying, there's tool of the trade. So some people use cards, some people use, crystals. They use, different things, because everybody uses different tools because of their strengths. Right. So what do you use? Or how do you prepare for a reading?
Yeah, that's a good question. And again, I love and respect all modalities, because I think, it wouldn't be fun if everyone did the same thing. So I encourage everyone to play and figure out what works for them, because we all have gifts, and the world needs an array of gifts, not the same thing. But for me personally, I don't use cards for readings. I definitely use cards on myself every morning because they're fun. But in my paid readings, I just do no cards. So it's just me. And I say I'm tapping into, to spirit into intuition, into your soul, whatever higher power, whatever belief system you have, that's what I'm working for. So basically I'm tuning into spirit, and spirit's giving me, for example, when I'm in a reading, I will see things, I'll feel things, and then I'll just know things, and I have no explanation for the knowing. But that's how it kind of works for me. So it's more of just a knowing. And then when I see things, it comes from like my left side. And that's another thing, Michelle, and not to call out people who do this, it's fine. But some mediums are like, oh, I see them. I see them. For me, it's not like that. I'm not looking in a room and seeing 100 people in front of me. For me, it's more of a feeling. And I always tell my friends, like, if you're imagining like your best friend, or the last time you saw your best friend at lunch, or what you had for lunch, like that inner eye is how I see spirit personally. So that's how it works for me. So in a psychic reading, I will see things as an impression really quickly, like that. I could see a word, and then I can just kind of feel into how my sitter's feeling, and then I'll just know things too. So that's how that works for me.
So how does this relate to your other job?
It's so funny. Sometimes I think I'm still on a journey and figuring out the answer to that. So we might have to do another catch up happy hour next year. And maybe I can answer that a little bit better, Michelle. But right now I do feel like they're kind of parallel. And I do feel like, I was having this conversation with my hairstylist the other day, actually, that, we all have intuition, and I feel like we can all use intuition in our everyday and in our jobs. So for her, and I'm getting chills now because it was just such a great session. But when she was cutting my hair, she was just like, it was like a therapy session. She was just so in tune to me and just talking about life. And to me, that felt like that was a reading in itself. So I feel like as a hairstylist and hair cutter, she uses her intuition to, tap into her clients. And for work, so I'm a video editor. So I'm editing episodes together. So I'm creating stories. I'm basically writing essentially, but in a video form. And so for me, it really does come intuitively. It's like picking a reaction shot and figuring out how they're feeling in that story. A good dramatic scene is like my favorite scene to cut. So I think it kind of blends both worlds. And then I'll have something obvious, we had a scene with Tyler Henry last season, and of course they passed me the scene to cut it. So then you're gonna get moments like that where I'm like, okay, give Stephanie all the medium and psychic scenes, and I always cut those. So that's a fun way for it to intersect as well.
Well, see, that is, and really, psychic and mediumship is a lot of creativity. You're using that creative side, of course, instead of that logical side.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you are, both your jobs are really fulfilling for you.
Yes.
Because you can use that creativity. You can do that storytelling just like you do with mediumship.
Yes.
Because you're telling a person's life story.
Exactly. That's a wonderful, beautiful point. So yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And do you ever feel that energy, whenever you are looking at footage? You can pick up energy on, over the screen.
Oh, totally. I mean, I don't know if this is a kosher thing to say, but we all have we Slack each other since we're all remote now, and I'll feel something in a scene. I'll be like, this person's lying, or this person's not. They're doing something silly, and I'll email my bosses, and they're like, oh, give us the scoop. What do you think? And we just have fun with it. So that's another fun way. But absolutely, in my everyday, I mean, I don't know how you ladies feel too, but I'm sure you feel the same way. Just walking through a grocery store, if you turn it on, it can be you can feel everything, and so I think it's learning how to have boundaries for yourself too, right? And being okay, I'm just grocery shopping now. I'm just going to turn off the light, and I don't need to be Teresa Caputo on her show giving people readings down the hallway by the apples, But yeah.
So how do you, and that's a great thing for everybody to know. How do you turn it off? And okay, let's put it a different way. You're not really turning it off.
Yes,
You're
never
tuning
turning it off.
down.
Yes.
Turning it down.
Yes,
So
we
how do you
never
do
want
that?
to turn it off. Yes, sorry, we never want to turn it off. Just a light dim. Again, I think everyone does it differently, right? But for me, I envision a light switch. If I'm just being really honest, I envision a light switch, and it's kind of, I just turn it off, or like, actually, you know what? It's not a light switch. I take that back. I envision 2 buttons. Okay. So like right before a reading, I'll see 2 buttons, and I have a life button, and then I have a psychic medium button. And so before my readings, I just imagine pressing that button and then going up some steps and opening a door. And that's kind of, to answer your previous question too, that's kind of how I start my readings. Okay. So when I go into life or see my friends or, go on a date or something, I will hit the life button, and spirit respects it. They really do.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So they don't wake you up in the middle of the night.
No. Oh, I would be so upset. Are you kidding? I need my sleep. No.
So I don't want to have this conversation right now.
Yeah, no. But you know what? I will say though, I always turn it down, right? For like readings, but it's never off. On my day-to-day, I have so much fun with spirit. Every day I feel them around me. I talk to spirit all the time, like getting validation, confirmation, like, spirit's fun. I feel like I always like to remind people that they're just like us, and they're not like all the time like these serious beings, they want to have fun with us too. So I feel like I'll see signs that just like make me laugh during my day that I know are from like spirit guides, so it's never fully off. But in terms of like giving someone a reading in the everyday, I like to keep that life button on.
Okay, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
I don't know why I need to ask this. So since you started readings,
yeah.
Okay, and a lot of people I know have a hard time separating themselves from it, because you do get in tune with it, and it can be exhausting, especially with mediumship when somebody's grieving. So how do you deal with that? If somebody's grieving on the other side, how do you, and I don't want to say protect yourself, because we don't need to protect ourselves, but how do you kind of tune yourself out so that you don't get emotionally involved?
Gotcha. During the reading and after?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. During the reading. And again, everyone does what they think is best. For me, I actually just push back those emotions, because I don't cry in my readings, or I don't bring that forward, because then I feel like I'm taking the attention away from my sitter, or maybe being just like a little distracting. And that's just for me personally. So how I envision doing that is kind of just like right before my readings, I'll envision like a gold light coming to me and just kind of going over my body, and then just kind of releasing all my life stuff, and just coming in as like a tunnel, a nice white light tunnel for my reader, and just kind of stay that way. That way, like my emotions are not triggered. Does that make sense? Because they're like already down the chute. They're already recycled to the earth. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah.
Because like you said, everybody does it different. But you know what? You may spark an idea for somebody.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Which is, wonderful. Because like you said, we're all different, but it's good to hear what others do.
Yeah. And then there's just one more point, if you don't mind, if we have time.
Yes.
For me too, after a reading, I will do an exercise to shut down too. So I'll push back that life button, and then I'll imagine, and actually Colby taught me this, as just letting the energy go down, right? And just kind of like shaking it off. So you kind of just shake it off, get new light. And then I actually feel very energized. I just got chills too. So I feel really energized, because after these readings, I really don't feel depleted. And I'm not saying that cannot happen, because sure, as I think in the beginning stages, it's easier for that to happen. But then as you develop and get stronger and stronger, you don't feel that as much. But I actually feel energized towards the end, because I'm like, wow, like what what a fun time we just had together, you know, or a healing moment we had together. So I feel pretty energized with that. Sometimes I'll feel a little sadness, you know, just like, oh, like, how can you not? But then I just kind of do that exercise, send love and light, and then I just hit that life button, and it usually doesn't follow.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope that's helpful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, what a great conversation.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. You had wonderful questions.
I just love it. I think we could all talk, for hours because it's something that we're passionate about.
Yes.
Yes.
You just could talk all day.
Yes, totally. And I feel like we're always evolving, right? Like there's so much more to learn. And I feel like this journey, we're never going to know everything. We're constantly learning. So you learn through talking, and I love talking with other mediums. And I'm just so honored to be here because, to support each other and continue the conversation, because it's an important one. Because I do hope that, one day we can be like seen, like on health insurance policies, right? Like, oh, I just need to go to my psychic or my medium, like a doctor's visit.
Well, and I love how you talk about normalizing.
Thanks.
Yeah. Normalizing this. And I think that it's interesting because there are a number of, I feel like at this point where we are kind of as a people in general.
Yeah.
We're getting into this space where people are more open to it. People
totally
aren't as like closed off or whatever. I even I don't know, when I told the rest of my family that I do psychic mediumship work, I wasn't sure what exactly to expect from them. Yeah. I kind of and I even hear my mom being like, oh, well, I told my friend at dinner that like my daughter does psychic readings. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
Really?
That's awesome.
Okay then.
She's proud of her daughter. Very proud.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I like it because it's because mediumship reading, psychic reading, it's a little bit kind of like going to a therapy session.
Yeah.
A little bit.
100%. Yeah.
Because you're talking about life, you're talking about the things that are going on, and then you're also getting that closure that you've been seeking. And so I love the points that you have brought up this evening.
Oh, yeah. And I agree with you. There is a shift right now in the world, and I think I know it's an exciting shift, right? And I feel like people are more attuned to it. And one thing I just love saying and telling my friends, because a lot of my friends are like, oh, like, well, we can't do that, or, something like that. And I was like, no, I don't like that narrative. It's like, we all have gifts. It's just figuring out which gift is yours. And I always tell people like, hey, we can all learn Spanish, but not all of us speak fluently. So I just happen to speak fluently in this one language, but there are 30 other languages that you can learn. So I really encourage people to really tap into themselves and their intuition and see what gifts they have. One of my dear friends that was not into this space at all, but as my journey kind of grew, she's like, Steph, I'm really into animals, and I feel like I really could read them. I'm like, you can. That is absolutely your gift. Like, keep going. And so now, like, she's by day working at Apple. Yes, I just called her out. And then by like, now like doing animal stuff. So I feel like we all have these fun little gifts that, that can be opened.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's the one thing, if you met somebody today that was kind of going down this path, what's and we will go into live readings here in a little bit, so if you do want a live reading, go ahead and start putting your comments in so that we know you're here and that you are wanting that, but before we do that, just for somebody who is beginning their journey, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them?
To trust the unknown, because in the unknown, that's where life begins. So I say to just trust it, go for it. And if you feel the fear, just do it anyways.
You know what? That sounds like Colby.
I know. I was like, you know what I thought in my head? I was like, I think Colby's told me that before. And I have always been the most scared. And she's like, do it anyways. So
Yeah.
Yes, I would say just embrace that fear and go for it, because life is too short, to not discover some gifts that you might have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. So we do have comments that are starting to come in. So yay. All right. So why don't we start with Vanessa was the first person, and she's actually asking for her friend. So Melody Martinez Binford would love a reading. So this would be just an in general.
Okay. Or we're just going. So for Melody and just psychically, what anything? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm feeling like there's some exciting new career things coming in for Melody. And so I really feel like it's an exciting time to kind of discover new things is what I'm feeling for you, Melody. Are you ladies getting that? Anyone?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and while you were talking too, it's just like anything else, that anything that changes can kind of bring in fear. Mm-hmm. And so when you were talking, not only is it an exciting time, but it's also a fearful time, because you know how you kind of think, oh, is this going to happen? Is this going, what's going to happen? Because you're so used to predicting things.
Right.
So I think it may be a little bit fearful as well. But as we all say, go for it.
Yes, I'm definitely feeling that new energy, new excitement. How Michelle said, go for
it. Absolutely. And I did pull some cards here as well. So the Emperor card, which is the card, like for me, this card always, it's like that structure. And I feel like it, and the next card that I pulled as well was the Ten of Wands. So I kind of feel like exactly what, to go off of what Stephanie and Michelle are saying, it's that you like that structure. You really, really like that structure. So with what's coming in, I don't think it's going to look that as structured, or it's not going to be structured in the way that you are used to seeing it. And therefore, it may feel a little bit heavier, which I think is where we're getting that Ten of Wands. But the Nine of Wands. But also there's the Star card that came with that. So there is that, it like what you're moving into, it's fun and it's exciting. Just it's kind of up to you to kind of manage whether you're feeling scared about it or whether you're feeling excited about it.
All right. I hope that resonates with you. God bless.
So, all right. So how about we go with Eddie? Eddie is from, he's just saying hi.
Okay. Hi, Eddie.
Hi, Eddie. All right. So, and we just read for her. So, how about Whitney Hartnett?
All right.
She says anything from Spirit.
Okay, let's see. I'm really feeling. Do we trade off going who goes first? Sorry, I just kind of. Okay.
Yeah, just hop in.
Yeah. I'm feeling that having a lot of self-love is coming in for me right now, and I'm feeling like it's an exciting time for you to kind of like put the love inward is what I'm feeling. Okay. So it's like learning to put yourself first is what I'm feeling right now. And I'm feeling like you are doing this. I do feel like you're like, okay, I am showing up for myself and I'm putting time for myself, and you're And I just feel a lot of self-love for you coming in. Do you ladies feel something similar?
Yeah, and just like what you're saying for, self-love, but it's also the best time to be open to anything, because don't think that whatever is happening in your life, that it's just a one-way deal, that you really need to be open to possibilities. And this could be, that self-love. So really listen to that intuition and
Mm-hmm.
make sure when you make those decisions that it is correct for you
Mm-hmm.
and you alone.
Right.
Yes. Because I just feel such a warmth from you, Whitney. I just feel like you're such a wonderful person. And I just feel like, yeah, it's putting yourself first. Sorry, Cassie. I just totally
No,
sabotaged
you're
you.
totally fine. The card that I pulled is the Five of Cups. So I think for you, it really is it's keeping your eyes on where you're going, not where you've been. Sometimes when things happen in our lives and they're really they're really tragic or they're really traumatic, we can kind of get stuck in this loop of watching, like, we keep playing the same cycle in our head and scenario in our head, and it just kind of, we get stuck in it, and it's kind of like you're looking at what spilled, like you're looking at these things that didn't go right. And when you shift your focus and you bring it to those things that are coming in, and it's and you're able to start highlighting the things that are going right, or the new opportunities that are coming in, or the new relationships that are coming in, then you start changing your vibration and bringing in even more of that. So it's really just kind of, I would just say, be mindful of where is your focus actually being. Is it on those new things coming in, or is it on those past situations that were no fun and hurtful? So
And
Yeah.
she said definitely a loop
Mm.
that she's in.
And I'm also feeling too, like, to trust yourself and to own, like, just trust yourself. I'm just feeling that too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't get that ego in the way, as it all does for us.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, all right. I hope that helps. Definitely feel my vibration rising, and I feel like I'm trying to focus on things coming in. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Very
Sending
awesome.
you so much love.
Yes, absolutely. So, our next person is going to be Sue Brazel.
Right.
She says, "I would love a life reading."
Ooh, I'm feeling like Sue's adventurous. Okay. I feel like we have some like really wanting to expand and going on, like, new adventures is what I'm feeling for you. And I'm feeling like there's some, and I know we're in an interesting time with COVID, so do what feels right for you. But I'm also feeling some new adventures with yourself, with like road tripping, traveling, doing new things, exploring new cities. I'm really feeling this for you.
Absolutely. And the card that I pulled is High Priestess. So I really feel like it's really just tapping in, and as you're looking at these new opportunities, it's really trusting your own instinct and guidance system. It's almost like stepping out the front door and just being like, what adventure awaits me today? And then whatever comes your way, you just go with it. Hop on that ride with total enthusiasm. Awesome. Let's see what this adventure is.
Okay, and yeah, gosh, very adventurous, huh? Okay, and so what I was really getting that really came through, Sue, is that sometimes you do tend to be very logical. You want to go out and have fun and do these adventures, but we keep talking about this ego that gets into the way. But I also, and I love this, and I felt like I needed to draw a card for you. So and I think this is perfect. So instead of, we were talking about how your intuitive self is creative and not as logical. And this card is just telling you that you are very intuitive, okay? It's an owl. So you're in a wise owl, that you are very intuitive, but a lot of times you don't listen to yourself. That logic kind of comes in and that ego starts arguing with you. so follow your intuition, girl. Oh my goodness. Hope that resonates with you.
Absolutely. All right. We are Jeffrey John just popped on and says he would love a message from Spirit. And hello, ladies. Hello, John. Jeffrey.
Hi, John. Well, do you ladies want to go first? Full disclosure, I know Jeffrey John, so I'll give him what I'm feeling after.
Yes. And Jeffrey has been a guest here on the show as well before. So it's always super, super exciting to see people pop in for the shows that we know.
Okay. Do you want me to go first since I don't know Jeffrey?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So what I was really getting is at the very beginning is that you do, and I mean, we're all laughing at your sense of humor and everything, but sometimes you tend to hide behind it because you're hiding who your true self really is. And I keep hearing you've got to come out, you've got to show people your true self. Instead of hiding behind, and we all do, we all kind of have that humor. People say, I tend to laugh when I get nervous. I'm going, I do not. And here I'm laughing, right? So instead of hiding behind your humor all the time, really speak your truth is what I'm really feeling.
Yeah. Yes. And the card that I drew as well is the moon card. And so I think sometimes you're a little bit surprised that when people do get to see you for you, and you are real and you are genuine and you do truly share you and what's going on with you, like it's kind of like that. Oh, wait, they genuinely they cared about that. Yes. Of course we do. So yeah, just kind of going along behind that. It's you've got an amazing heart and amazing light, and just don't be afraid to shine it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, I totally feel that too, ladies. I might think of something different and fun since he is a dear friend of mine. So just to be authentic in that, which I appreciate you showing up, Jeffrey, though. I definitely feel like it's definitely time for him to for sure put himself out there too, but just something playful and fun that came in for me was one of your dogs came in for me, and they just came like and they're just like coming just like so excited and just so happy, and I just feel like you feel their support, and I just feel like one specifically and I'm getting drawn to like a ball, so I feel like there's a specific catching with this dog that just loves and cherishes your time together. And I'm feeling like more walks and hikes outside. So I don't know if you've been inside cooped up a little bit, but I feel like it's like grabbing the dogs and going for their walk. And I just feel like they're just like your biggest cheerleaders. And I know it's a little silly to bring in a dog, but that was what's coming.
And I do have one more thing because it's very interesting. All of a sudden, and even though we're on air, it can happen. I can actually feel his energy. It was like it was kind of like, behind the door. I don't know how to explain it.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it started coming.
Yes.
And it's very yeah. And I can feel it again. I'm getting
Michelle, I feel the same way.
Yes.
Yes,
so
100%. Yes, very nurturing and very calming too. And I also feel that's a part of your gift, Jeffrey, is this like way to show up for people and listen. I feel like you're an amazing listener, and that calming spirit too, part of your gift.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. We have. Let's do so it's coming through as Jay Jackson, but it's she's they say
okay, it's Keisha. Yeah.
Keisha.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so not Jay Jackson.
Not Jay Jackson. We're reading.
She's using yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I do, and I'm glad that we make sure, because I always write people's names down. I'm kind of a doodler. I mean, it just kind of opens me up more. So that's what I'm doing when I'm looking down.
Oh, I love that, Michelle. That's really neat. All right. Cassie, do you want to go for it?
Sure. So with Keisha, what I drew is the 3 of coins, and what I get from this card is that it's there's projects that you're working on, and I almost want to say that this is more like areas of your life that you view as projects, like, oh, we're going to fix this part of this thing that's going on. We're going to fix this thing that's going on. We're going to fix this thing that's going on. And I do feel like it is like you're putting a lot of time and a lot of dedication. I feel like a very dedicated, and you're laying a foundation. You're really starting to like lay that foundation for it. But I do feel like it's 3 main areas that you are focusing on at the moment. And I think the 3 of them together are really building that strong foundation for you.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You want to go next, or you want me to, Steph?
Sure. I was feeling and nothing bad at all, but health popped in for me. And I was just feeling like really taking the time to like putting health first, because I feel like you've worked so hard for everything that you've had. And I feel like maybe health was not something that you would always pay attention to. So I'm feeling like it's, focusing on that, and kind of like how we were saying to Whitney too, like making that a priority as well, and putting yourself first, while how Cassie said, while you're balancing all these things, because I do feel like you're very busy, balance, and like giving and balancing to so many different people and projects, like Cassie was saying, that I do think it's important to take some time for yourself and to really tune inwards and have that recharge time. Okay. So I feel just really pulled to saying health and just checking in with yourself and, giving yourself that self-love too.
I love it. I love how we're getting like little puzzle pieces for everybody.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because I actually had an image come across, and it was like, oh my gosh, Keisha is here at the party. She has all this charisma. Everybody just absolutely loves you. And, and it just, you sparkle and you shine, and all of this wonderful energy. And it's very interesting too. I really felt like I had to keep looking at my little toy here. and the reason is I was really feeling that you need to, oh my gosh, in your life, really look through an eyes of a child, enjoy it. You have all this charisma and everybody loves you, but you need to also trust yourself, because I think a lot of times there's not enough trust. And and like what, Stephanie and Cassie was saying, you need to take that self-care. And that's exactly the same way. Trust yourself and know when to kind of back down. So I hope that resonates with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so our next reading is going to be for, just had it.
I can see her concentrating.
Let's see. We're gonna go with Jamie.
Okay.
Jamie came in from YouTube.
Okay, Jamie, let's see.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did say that earlier. Okay, Jamie, if you don't mind. For some reason, it's like, I don't know if you have a brick wall around you, but if you don't mind taking a couple of deep breaths, it could have been the stress of the day. But sometimes I can't get into feeling your energy. And I think as I'm talking, you're beginning to open up a little bit. But do y'all feel that kind of the energy that's relaxing a little bit? Sometimes that's all you have to say. Jen, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So what, and it's very interesting, whenever I start talking, sometimes I say things and it goes right along with the reading. And the one thing that I'm really feeling is stress. Okay. That in your life, you really need to prioritize, if I can say that word correctly. Think about what you need to have in your life, because I feel like you are so stressed, and for some reason it's in the back. And of course, we all feel it in the shoulders too, but it's really your back for some reason. And just know that, you're doing fantastic. And I think that because you want to do these things, that's what's bringing stress in. And sometimes it's hard to think straight whenever you're that stressed. Okay. So definitely, we're talking about self-care here. So definitely take care of yourself and take a couple of deep breaths on a daily basis. And love yourself.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I say, are we able to ask a question or no? Because then they type. I don't know if you guys are feeling it too, but I was feeling I felt a lot of responsibility around Jamie, and I was going to say children, but I don't want to say children if she doesn't have children. But I was feeling, or he or she, I was feeling just like there's a lot of responsibility around you right now. And I'm feeling that just a little bit tired and like being able to manage all these things. And I just really feel pulled to say that you can do it and that you're doing an amazing job is what I'm feeling. And that I do feel like things didn't come easy for you in the past. And I feel just very pulled to like tell you that you have done like such an amazing, like you've done so amazing for yourself. And I'm getting chills everywhere, which is like my spirits of like, yes. And I just feel like very pulled to tell you that you can do it. And you like, if the confidence is there, you've just got to like unleash it. But I do feel that like you're a hard worker. Things usually don't come easy, but you do it. You're a go-getter. And I really do feel like, just excited for you because I feel like you can do it. Whatever it is, I just feel pulled to tell you that you can do it.
Absolutely. And the card that I pulled is the King of Swords. So I feel like that kind of goes right along with the carrying of the weight. Like you can actually even see in the card, like he's sitting there, like even though he's sitting, he's actually still holding his swords in his hands, like ready to be at the ready. And it's like, yeah. It's okay to relax a little bit. It's okay to not quite be so on guard, or like I almost feel like it's like you're ready for the world to fall on you, or you're ready, like you're kind of constantly looking for like what's the next thing that's going to go wrong? What's the next thing that's going to go wrong? Let's flip the switch a little bit, or flip the script. It's what's the okay, a lot of maybe really stressful things have been happening. What's the good thing that's on the horizon? Looking for that good thing versus looking at the negative thing. Because I also and just giving yourself some time to yourself, I feel like, and making sure that you do have that downtime to be able to go out, take a walk, or to meditate, or to just relax for a little bit. And I think you're going to start seeing some of those. I think you're going to start seeing some of those things actually things just in general start working better for you.
Yeah. And I'm also feeling pulled to talk about finances too. And just and that to know that you can do it is just what I'm feeling too. So I don't know if you've been thinking about finances recently or trying to put little, like growing that savings a little bit more. I feel just pulled to say that you can do it and to not be overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. All right. Is it almost time to maybe one more, or?
I think we got time for like one more, then we're getting close. So let's do one more.
Okay.
And all right, Vanessa.
Ooh, okay. I got excited for you, Vanessa. All right. I feel very, if you ladies feel this too, I just feel very like very playful energy with you. Is that what you feel, Michelle?
I was about to write that down, playful, and
No.
you just said
it. Perfect validation. Okay. What are you feeling, Michelle? Because I'm feeling just very playful and like just very joyful, and just remembering to spark joy in your everyday and remember to play, because I feel like you are so playful in nature that I think we just get caught up in the day-to-day, and I just feel like a reminder to like laugh more, to bring that laugh, because I feel like you have such a contagious laugh, and when people are around you, you spark that joy. So I feel like it's bringing that inwards and sparking that joy and bringing that laugh back for yourself.
Absolutely, because when you said that is so funny, Spirit's talking with all three of us when that happens. But I was also, feeling playful in that you are so optimistic. Don't let these people get you down. Because, when you're that positive and then there's a negative, opposites attract, right? So make sure that you continue to be as optimistic as you can and show those people that they're not going to change you or get your optimism or your playfulness at all. And put that brick wall up whenever you have a really, and I don't want to say negative because that's not a good word, but if they're not as optimistic as you are. All right. Mm-hmm. So keep that light going and that playfulness. That's awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely. And just to kind of go right into this, the card that I drew is the Ten of Cups. And so on this particular card, it's depicted with dolphins. So this is typically what I consider like the family, like happy family card. But the fact that it's made with dolphins in this deck, it's like, because when you think about dolphins, they're playful and they're very social and they're very fun. So I think it's just just enjoying being in those super fun moments for sure.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. So thank you everyone who came and joined us tonight. Stephanie, tell people how they can come find you.
Yes, you can find me on my website at stephanielyra.com. And you can also find me on Instagram. You can book easily on the website, so I would go there, but you can also send me a message on Instagram as well. Awesome. And I'll respond. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Michelle, how can people get a hold of you?
Okay, I always tell everybody, go to my website. It's got all the information, just one shop right there, at www.michellehendersonmedium.com.
Absolutely. Awesome. And I am Cassie Clayton.
And you. All right, Cassie, where can they find you?
So everyone can find me at Stargazers Unite, stargazersunite.com. I help people with their brands, logos, and websites, and help radiate their soul out into the world. So absolutely. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies. I feel incredibly honored. So thank you.
Oh no, we're honored.
So, all right. Well, everybody have a great evening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.